My name is Nathan Savage, CEO of Devslopes, and we're going to talk about how you can't learn any new skills until you first have this number one thing. Now, what I'm going to move to real quickly is my computer, and I'm going to read off a LinkedIn post that I recently wrote for all of our students within Devslopes. And we found that this was a crucial factor for helping people learn and acquire new skills. And I think you're going to find it really interesting. See, what we looked at was who were people who were able to learn new skills and what were the reasons behind their ability to learn those new skills? And one of the first things I did is I looked at myself. I was somebody who came from a very small town in West Texas with 13 kids in my graduating class. And I was able to learn a large portion of skills that brought me to being the CEO of a 7-figure company. Now, how was that possible? First, it went through learning how to become a marketer. Then it learned sales, then having to learn about finance, having to learn about legal, how to learn about managing people, all of these in a very short period of time. And what I learned is that I have the ability to master a large portion of skills. And that's what this post is going to be about. So if you're watching this and wondering, how am I going to make my career transition? How do I get past the chaos of what life is throwing at me and to be able to learn these skills? This video is going to be perfect for you. So let's tune over and figure out exactly how to make that possible. So I'm going to transition here. I'm going to read this from LinkedIn. If you're just listening to it, no worries. You can just listen. It'll follow along just fine. So the headline, you can't learn a new skill until you have this one thing. The journey of a career transition is filled with ups and downs. Juggling the chaos of your life and work while trying to build a new life for yourself can seem impossible. That's why this piece of the puzzle is crucial. Now, you cannot build a new career, let alone a new skill set, until you have this one thing, and that one thing is self-confidence. And I'm going to define that in just a moment. Now, self-confidence is a circumstance of skill acquisition, and career transition is defined in two areas. Now, number one, you believe that you can overcome any obstacle that you face. And number two, you perceive feedback from mentors as them trying to support you. And I'm going to expand on these both in just a moment. Now, self-confidence is at the core. Self-confidence at its core can be simplified in how you perceive the world and how you perceive yourself. Now, do you believe that you are destined to fail? Or do you believe that you are destined to fail? Or do you believe that you are destined for success? Now, what I found is that a large portion of students coming into Devslopes, they're really on the edge, and quite frankly, they feel like they're kind of destined to fail. They have a lot of failure in their past. They haven't really had a winning season for their life. So for a lot of them, it's learning, how do I get that track record of a couple really small wins? And that's what we're going to talk about in just a moment. Now, we built an entire aspect of Devslopes called our empowerment team. And that team was built to address three aspects. Number one is self-confidence, which is what I just said, your belief in yourself and your ability to perceive feedback as a supportive thing. Number two, self-management. Can you set a plan and execute on that plan? And finally, it's just skill acquisition, mastery of your craft. Now, you cannot complete number 2 or 3 until you have first mastered self-confidence. You will not be able to become a great developer. You will not be able to become a great anything until you first have that self-confidence. So let's talk about how that is possible. And I also want to go through the students in Devslopes that left these really heartfelt responses talking about the things that they're struggling with. And I'm going to directly answer these questions just for you guys because I love y'all and I want to see you succeed. And that's what all the content moving forward is going to be about, right? How can we build that self-confidence? How can we better manage ourselves? And how can we set plans up to help us succeed? Now, going down here, I want to look at Eric C., who just said, hey, I just joined you guys this week. I haven't been able to attend any of the lessons yet as I work and tutor 4 nights a week. I will try to make some of the later classes this week on the weekends though. I just wanted to say hi. First off, Eric, thank you so much for taking the time to leave that comment. But I do want to point out something. This is typically the first step in the journey of moving off the path, right? You're the first step of moving off the path. When you first join something, what I want to see in your first week in the program is just making small steps, right? It's okay not to be spending every single day doing it. But what we have to do is set the expectation and set the standard and understand what your goal is. You came into this program because you want to make a career transition. You want to change your life forever. You want a completely different lifestyle. You don't want to be working those nights as a tutor anymore. You want to be working those nights freelancing and building your dream career. So the way that we make that possible is we know that time was available, because when you went through the enrollment process for Devslopes, one thing we emphasize, hey, do you have 10 to 15 hours a week? And you're going to notice a trend here for all of you watching this video. Everybody typically has that 10 to 15 hours a week. The hardest thing that we find is how do we execute on that 10 to 15 hours a week? It could be incredibly hard at times because we have the time, but we're just not motivated. I just don't know if I can do it. I just can't get myself to go do it. That's self-confidence, right? We have the time. And quite frankly, I could give you the perfect plan. But your ability to have the self-confidence that you can do this is one of the problems that a lot of you are facing. Now, moving on to Lisa Nelson. Hey, I started to feel like I was on exercise for longer than expected. I'm a student at Devslopes and I love it, and I receive help from the best. Now I'm working on the registration exercise. I started the first step is to join a boot camp. I believe I am destined to succeed. I have self-confidence. It's all or nothing for me at this point. I was fired from my job and recently had a son. I told myself I needed to do better for my kids. My husband works, but this is my dream and it will come true. First off, Lisa, I love that for you. I love that you're putting that stake in the ground and you're saying, I'm gonna do this. Now let's talk about how you guarantee that you make that possible. Having that self-confidence, step one, perfect, right? Step two is really establishing that discipline, establishing that plan, and executing on it. So here's how you're gonna do that. You're first gonna get with Sean within the program, and we're gonna establish that plan. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna act like the bad guys. Because guess what? We are here not to be your friend, but to be the biggest supporter of you, the empowerment aspect to guarantee you get where you wanna go. At the end of the day, I don't care if you like me or not. I care about if I'm able to help you change your life. So what that means is you're gonna get with Sean. She has calls 3 to 4 times a day, right? And you're gonna get with her and say, hey, Sean, I have the determination, I believe in myself. Now what do I need help with? Structuring my day. I have these free hours. I need help building a routine to guarantee that I get started during those times. Because guess what? My son may wake up, he may wake up from a nap, I may have to go feed him, I might have to go do X, Y, Z. And you build a plan that is adaptable to that, right? You don't need to try to do this by yourself. You paid for the best mentors in the world to help you out on that aspect. So don't try to do it alone. There's no need for it. You have the mentors available. All we need to do at this point is establish an adaptable routine for you. And specifically, this is what's gonna really matter, specifically build a plan and a routine to get started. So every day, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna walk on over, you're gonna sit down at your computer, right? I'm gonna have coffee beside me. I'm gonna take 2 drinks. I'm gonna open up Apple Music. I'm gonna play 1 song every single day when I get started. Boom, we're in. I'm getting started every single day. That's how you get started. A lot of this is about guaranteeing you have a strong routine to get your path started. And then understanding, hey, I know for a fact, every 30 minutes, that's when I start drifting off. So guess what? I'm gonna walk away. I'm gonna come back. Hey, I'm gonna grab some water now. I'm gonna take a quick drink. I'll pop this open. Cool, got some water. Let's get back to it. That's how we establish habits and routines to establish success within your daily life. So Lisa, that's what your next game plan is for moving forward from here. Now, we have Mohammed. Hey, I've fallen short on the responsive web project. There are a few parts in this project that I've been stuck on, and I can't seem to find the answers online. Now, this is again, one of the problems we see with a large portion of students. You just made a big investment to join a program like Devslopes. That costs thousands of dollars, but it is the most affordable option out there for you. Now, the problem that happens with these students, right, exactly like you, Mohammed, is you get a little fight or flight mode, right? You enter a fight or flight mode when you get stuck, and you lose the ability to see the bigger picture. So here's what I mean by that. We have all the resources. Devslopes is a mentorship program. So this is what I want from you. Just like what I told you in these comments, you're gonna go straight to the Discord. Option number 1, you're gonna go look at the Q&A section. Option number 2, we're gonna go join one of the live calls with one of the best mentors that we have, whether it's Jonathan, Andre, Peter, any of those guys. And you wanna bring up what's happening. See, this is a very common occurrence we see with students coming into the program. And what they have is they've been wired to where whenever they get stuck, they just wanna solve the problem on their own. But what happens is you're scared to ask questions. Well, I don't wanna ask questions. I don't wanna seem dumb. What if they judge me? What if they say I'm dumb? That's okay. You're here so we could provide you with that support. This is a common thing that takes place with individuals who have imposter syndrome and typically lack that self-confidence, right? You just got started, you got kicked in the stomach a couple times, and you're a little scared to stand up. That's completely fine. What I want you to know is you're in a supportive community. Everybody has been in these exact same shoes. It is completely fine for you to feel a little lost. So when you're lost, what you do, you put that hand up. Hey guys, I'm stuck. I need help. Where do I go? And they're gonna tell you, hey, we have a student lounge meetup actually in the next 30 minutes with a bunch of students in HTML and CSS. Come join us. Hey, there's the Q&A section. Go hop in there. Hey, we actually have a call starting with one of our mentors here in about 10 seconds. Come hop on in. We have over 12 plus live ones a day. That's your next step, Mohammed. And you're gonna look back on this and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I ever struggled with that. This was super easy. Moving a little bit forward, and I saw this and I really appreciated this response from Garrett. I've fallen way behind. I get stuck and easily give up. The lesson I'm on right now, I try to write the code on CodePen and it doesn't show up on the bottom. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. Maybe I'll try opening a new CodePen. I'm at work right now, so I don't know what specific lesson it is at the moment. And this is my response. First and foremost, how much of a rock star do you have to be to initiate this conversation, lift your hand up and say, hey, I need help? I love that. It's common for people, like I said, who are brand new, who go to start a lesson. And again, fight or flight hits. You're gonna see this as a pattern, as a trend that I keep mentioning. And when I say fight or flight hits, we open up CodePen, maybe we open up our code editors, and it seems like everything just turns to mush. We forget everything. We don't know what's going on. Even in this video, I stumbled multiple times. It's okay, right? I haven't made thousands of videos, right? Our content team has made an ungodly amount. They're much better at this. One of the reasons why I'm even gonna tell the team to keep some of those stutters in there is because I'm just as human. We're going to have those mistakes. It's completely reasonable. Now, this is what I need you to do. Raise that hand inside the program. Join one of the mentorship calls. They're from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. at night. They're gonna work to whatever your schedule is. And they're waiting right now for you to come in and ask for help. That's how you get the support, right? So what you're gonna see as another pattern is when you get stuck, we don't wanna go to social media. We don't wanna go anywhere besides Discord to ask our mentors for support. Your path to the journey that you wanna be on, your path to the goal that you want is to always raise your hand and go work with that mentor who's gonna be able to understand where you're at and how to help you. So Daniel, or Garrett, Garnet is the actual name. That's what I want you to do immediately. Now, another great example is Adrian. I'm currently enrolled in the program, but I've been falling behind because of all of this other stuff. I work all day and I look after my kids in the evenings. And I have some time at the end of the night, but it's incredibly hard to balance all of it, right? So I put the kids down and I want some me time. I want some relaxed time, right? That's what he's saying. And I definitely would love some advice on how I can make it work. Adrian, this is what I want to tell you. You have started an incredibly hard journey for yourself. The transition that you're on is just not going to be easy. Devslopes wasn't built for the 20-year-old with the parents who's going to pay for everything, right? It's not built for the kids who are going to be going off to the Ivy League schools whose parents are going to take care of their entire college education. Devslopes is built for that 18 to 35 demographic who are wanting to change their lives. Their backs are against the wall. They're the underdog in life. They don't have all the money in the world. They got families. They got responsibilities. They got all this stuff going on. And they're like, how the fuck do I do this? This is how you do it. First, you do not beat yourself down. I'm not going to throw stones at you just because you haven't been able to dedicate that time to actually making forward progress. First is understanding life is really hard right now. You do have a lot to manage. But we also have to understand you are on your own journey. You started your adventure. And it's our job to hold you accountable to that. So this is what I want from you. I want you to reach out to Sean as fast as you can, right? Reach out to our empowerment team as fast as you can. And let's find a way to build the tiny habits. Those tiny habits are logging in and studying for maybe 15 to 30 minutes a day. It's not perfect, and quite frankly, you're not gonna make a lot of progress. But after you do that for 2 to 3 months, you will be able to have built the habit to where now you can add more onto it and start having real success. A lot of you are understanding that the point that you're in is for you to make the transition from who you are to being a true entry-level software engineer, even marketer. You have to do more than just learn the skills. It is about the transformation of you as a human. You're going from somebody who didn't have the ability to study on a consistent basis in a real environment, right? You didn't know how to study. You didn't know how to hold yourself accountable, to being the person who could sit down and do the hard stuff. That is what represents an amazing employee, and that's what you have to be able to do. So what you're realizing is learning to go through a mentorship program like Devslopes, you're learning that the hardest part about this is the personal transformation. That's why we're so adaptable with all of our students. That's how someone like you actually makes the career transition. So when you're sitting in those interviews and they're like, listen, Adrian, why should we hire you? You know what? I want to tell you about why you should hire me. This was a long transition for me. It took 2 years for me to learn how to become a software engineer, but this is what I want to tell you. It was the most meaningful 2 years of my life. During that 2 years, when I first started this, I had a real hard time being able to sit down and study. I have mastered that. I've gained control over my mind, my ability to do things that I don't want to. You give me a to-do list, I will complete that within the deadline that you gave me, guaranteed. And if I can't, I will let you know ahead of time. When you hire me, you are hiring somebody who will be highly effective when it comes to communicating the deadline, whenever I need help, and doing everything I can to make sure that this team wins. When you graduate from a program like Devslopes and become the person who graduates and gets that certification, that lifts it up, that's who you have become. You went from being the guy or the girl who had issues holding themselves accountable to being the absolute winner who transformed their entire life. That's who employers are looking at hiring. Now, I want to come down a little bit more. I'm actually going to jump over to Clayton real fast. Clayton is a student who's been in the program for a while, and he is an absolutely amazing human. And Clayton, I want to give you a massive shout out here because I just want to see you win. I love you, man. You've been an amazing student. I'm so proud of you, and you continue to be on a daily basis an absolute inspiration, not only for us as a staff at Devslopes, but for all your peers within the community. Now, this is an excellent post and advice, and I try to encourage my fellow students to have the attitude that Nathan is talking about here. And as far for myself, I've been an underdog. Most people outside of my mom have tried to place limits on me for what I can do and how smart I am due to my disabilities through my struggles. It has made me stronger, breaking through these limits. But the struggle I have is finding a career, a job I can do, and to be able to work around my disabilities, which is why I looked into programming, besides the fact that it looked really fun. It gives me the opportunity to work around my disabilities or help my family when needed, and have it as when I probably won't have a normal life. So, Clayton, this is what I want to talk to you about. You are somebody who has a disability, right? You have a speaking disability, you have epilepsy like myself. These are hard things that we have to address. Now, what I want to first and foremost tell you is that the power of our new Dream 100 career coaching is really what's going to be helping you here, right? So what I want you to be doing almost immediately is hopping into that Dream 100 career coaching so we can have a more proactive approach to finding the right job for you, right? So when you're somebody that has disabilities, what really matters is learning how to aim the bow at the right company who will be most likely to hire you. So what you're going to want to look for are companies that are hiring people who have hired individuals with alternative educations, who didn't have formal coding backgrounds. And you additionally want to hire and look for individuals who maybe are part of organizations they're part of organizations that have individuals with disabilities in them. All of this is about our core philosophy when it comes to Dream 100 career coaching of interest alignment. Well, you want to find people who have similar backgrounds to you, who have had similar struggles, and how they made their transition. That's how you're able to make your transition as a whole, right? So Clayton, I would love to see you in a Dream 100 career coaching call as soon as possible. That's where you're going to really get your big bang for your buck. Because when I look at you, I don't see somebody with self-confidence issues. You're always able to also manage your own time. It's just about right now at this point, finishing up the program. You're almost there. I hear about it on a weekly basis. And really, at the end of the day, starting that career search in the most effective way to help you find the right spot. Now, the last one I want to go through is Richard Olpinodo. Richard, I'm really sorry if I mispronounced your last name. But for everybody watching, Richard has been a rock star in the program. Every time he joins one of our calls, he's always at work absolutely grinding. And he represents the core of what Devslopes is. The fight for the underdog who is working their ass off to change their life forever. So I'm going to talk real quickly about what Richard is doing. I've been in the program for a little over a year now. And at times it doesn't feel like it feels like I'm moving slower than I would like to. Part of it is fully understanding the concept of being taught, while the other part is trying to juggle outside life with my job, caregiving, ministry, and etc. And one hard thing is the time zones can be a challenge too, since almost all of my meetings and classes happen during working hours for him. Thankfully, I can catch up with the recordings. Being able to learn more about the group work environment and having practice sites built together would help me with confidence in working in the field. For example, and we just ran a hackathon, that's what he's talking about, it really helped him get a taste of what it could be like in the real world. And it helped him building experience on Git. So what I want to talk about when it comes to someone like Richard, they really are having to fight the hard fight right now. Classes, as of right now, don't fit his schedule perfectly. But you know what he's doing? He understands his goal. He understands the mentors are awesome. And he adjusts his schedule to be able to watch the recordings and do everything. Richard, what I want to tell you is you have that self-confidence, right? You may not fully experience it and feel it, but when I see you, I see somebody wildly capable of accomplishing their wildest dreams. And the reason why I see that is because you show up. Regardless of whenever you're kicked, whenever you feel great, whatever it is, you are always showing up being a rock star. And that is the first step. And what I want to tell you, and I had a long conversation with our CTO, Peter, about this, the individuals who win, who make that career transition, are the individuals who stick in the fight, right? It's kind of like boxing. They're staying in the ring. They're choosing to stay in the fight, right? They're not running away, right? Richard, I've given you hard feedback at times, and you didn't take that hard feedback as, oh my God, Nathan hates me. I'm going to leave the program for a bit because I can't handle it. No, you understand. Okay, Nathan, Peter, Jonathan, Andre, Sean, these guys want to see me win. I understand. Let me take this feedback and how can I work with this? It is simply a matter of time. When someone like you joins the program, it is because you stick in there. You're going to see that success. It is simply a matter of time. Guys, that's all. Let's go ahead and cover one last one. Let's go ahead and cover Joe McNeil's. I've fallen short of my goals to progress. I work night shifts and am not able to work at all, thankfully, and am able to work on it at work. So you can work on the program at work. But where I work, there's no internet, so I do what I can. I'm struggling with JavaScript, and I want to go to the learning portions of the course, but due to the night shift work, I need to sleep during the day. I feel like I'm spinning the wheels and losing motivation. So Joe, let's do a couple things. First and foremost, massive congratulations for finding a way to get that work in while you're at work. Now the second aspect is, this is the tough love, and this is understanding where self-confidence is at. Right? The first step of establishing that self-confidence is number one, do you believe that you can do this? Right? I have an issue with this myself. I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory. Devslopes grew incredibly fast, right? Our Earn While You Learn curriculum, all these things helped us really grow fast. And I look at myself as a CEO of now a 7-figure business with tons of employees. And I think to myself almost every day, who am I to be doing this? Could I do this again if I needed to? This just seems like luck. I find myself genuinely saying that all the time. It really is kind of a hit to my own confidence trying to imagine how I handle it. Now, for yourself, right? You have to know that coming into this program, you have to believe in yourself that you can do this, that the other individuals who are in React, who are in the back-end portion of the program, who have gotten their certification, who have gotten the jobs, that you can do it just as much as they can. It's really common for new students to think, yeah, well, they did it because they're special. No, not at all. You can do this. That's step number one. Step number two, you have to be able to perceive feedback as it is me wanting to support you and help you achieve your goal. One of the problems most students experience when they first join the program, and on the criticism and feedback I'm about to give you, is that they will take this feedback and it will completely disrupt them. They will perceive that feedback as an attack on them versus a support for them, and it will cause them to back up, disengage, stop join calls with the camera off, all of those aspects. I don't want that from you. So Joe, this is what I have for you. First, we need to be realistic. Let's say you work 10 hours at night, right? That still leaves an additional 14 hours in the day. Most of our students sleep for about 6 hours. So that's 16 hours right there. And you have an additional, I believe that would come out to, you're going to have at least, when we factor in travel, everything else, probably 6 to 8 hours a day of time that you can do something, right? What you have to do is look in the mirror and think, what am I doing for those 6 to 8 hours? Am I playing video games? Am I watching videos? What am I doing? And you have to have the self-audit to understand, hey, I really enjoy these video games. I really enjoy this TV. I really enjoy spending time with my friends. But I also understand that right now, it is about me building my dream life. And I'm going to put myself first. Because what I found for students that are inside the program, the History Channel has a really nasty habit of repeating itself. So if you don't learn how to prioritize yourself right now, today, what you're going to find is that History Channel has a ruthless habit of always repeating itself. You will never be able to escape the cycle unless you first choose to step into the really cold, scary river and accept that for you to cross that river, you're going to get a little cold, right? You might be pushed down river a little bit. You might cut your feet open, right? You might go underwater a handful of times and feel like you're drowning. All you got to do is just survive. Keep your head above water, embrace the challenge, and understand at the end of the day, the only person who has the ability to do this is yourself, right? This is a core tenet for all the students within Devslopes. Your perception of the problem is your entire way through. And that's one of the core keys of what we talk about when it comes to self-confidence. You must first believe that you can do this, regardless if you have 15 minutes or 15 hours a week. Guys, that's all I wanted to talk about. We will continue this monologue of talking about self-confidence, moving to self-management, how to manage your time, and ultimately that skill acquisition and mastery, how to get better at actually learning new things. But most of you really are trapped up at self-confidence and self-management. And that's why we have our empowerment staff. So if you are somebody struggling with that, I want to encourage you to continue to find those call times to join them, watch the live recordings. And if you're somebody trying to learn how to code right now, and you're maybe looking for a program, maybe you're trying to learn on your own, and you're looking to explore better options, Devslopes is built specifically for you. There's no program on earth that is dedicated on mentorship. We are not a boot camp. We are not a university. We are not a course. We are a mentorship program based and focused exclusively to help people make career transitions by aligning them with mentors who will transform their life and provide them with the resources they need to grow. Thank you guys, all of you, so much for joining the call. I love all of y'all. I can't appreciate or show my appreciation enough for each and every one of you that joins in here. And I hope to be able to work with you within Devslopes. Have an amazing day. Follow me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm going to be posting a lot of this stuff. And I'll talk to you guys later.